Ready to dominate at the plate? Blast Baseball is trusted by more major league and college teams than any other hitting solution. The Blast sensor attaches to the knob of any bat, providing real-time feedback with every swing. Go to blastmotion.com and enter code NowD1 at checkout to save $25. All right, everybody, it is 9 o'clock. Let's get right into it. We do this show every Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern on Twitter Spaces. I'm Alan Gay, and this is NowD1 Speaks. Hey, I am really excited about tonight. I feel like I always say that. I'm super excited, but I got to tell you, we really have a special show tonight. We got Tripp Bollibon with us, and Tripp is a 24, and guess what? He's a committed 24. He's out of the state of South Carolina, and I got to tell you, I think we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. Hey, Tripp. You may be muted, I'm not sure, but man, if you're with us, why don't you say hello?
How's it going?
Hey, Tripp, man, I'm glad to have you back, man. This is going to be a ton of fun. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, sir.
So let me ask you something I kind of want to get out of the way right off the bat. I think you really got some big news that you'd like to share with the NowD1 Speaks audience. What's your big news?
I just recently committed to a school that I think I'm going to really enjoy, Mars Hill.
Man, congratulations. That is such awesome news. I have been so excited to hear you say that, man. That is big, big, big time news. And I tell you what, Mars Hill is a big time school with a big time reputation for baseball. I think it's close to you. I think it's an ideal fit. I think you are just going to absolutely flourish and have a great time. And I can't wait to kind of get into how did you end up going to Mars Hill? I think that's what we're really going to be talking about. And, what some of their strengths are, what some of your strengths are, and just kind of how the whole recruiting process came together. But Tripp, congratulations, man. I mean, I can't imagine how excited you are and how proud your family must be too, man.
Thank you. I'm very excited.
No question about it. Hey, let's kind of get into it. I've got a few questions that I definitely want to ask you, and I know it's going to lead into some other conversations as well. But, man, and for the people that don't know, this is what's so cool about this. The very first show that NowD1 Speaks ever did, guess what? Tripp was the guest. Our very first guest that's ever come on. And Tripp, so that you know, this is episode 67. There's been quite a few episodes since you came in. But, man, you were the very first one. You were uncommitted, and now you're committed. So let me ask you, as you kind of think about, from the first time you were on our show, which was just really a couple of months ago, kind of share some of the really big moments and experiences that have really shaped your decision so that you did end up committing to Mars Hill.
Yes, sir. So just obviously started out back in I think around March, I got onto the D1 Speaks podcast and had a blast just doing it. I really enjoyed my time talking there. Then as the season went on, school ball went on, had a good time there. Then summer ball came around, and obviously had the time of my life going there, playing with that team. And then I found the school. I found one of the coaches, Coach Fitchin, and contacted him from Mars Hill. And next thing I know, I was off at a camp, and then the rest is history.
That's so cool. All right. I really want to talk about a few of those factors. And I mean, that's such a great rundown. No question about it. So over the summer, what team did you play with?
Over this summer, I played with the Carolina Combat.
Carolina Combat. Did y'all have a very successful summer? Was it a good summer overall?
Yes, sir. I would say so.
Yeah, I know it was for you, but I mean for the team.
Yeah, we did really good. A lot of deep runs in tournaments, and even won a PBR tournament at Winthrop.
Oh, that's big time right there, man. No question about it. Winthrop's not too far from Mars Hill.
Yes, sir.
I love it. All right, so you ended up going to a Mars Hill camp, and I got to tell you, in today's environment with recruiting, camps are a really big deal, and it sounded like that was absolutely pivotal in your recruitment.
Yes, sir. It was.
Well, tell us about it, man. What happened at the camp? How did it kind of play out?
I first contacted Coach Fitchin, and Ian told me about coming to he told me he would like to see me at their camp, and talked to my parents. We signed up, made the trip down there, and then got there around like 8 o'clock. And first part of the camp was pitching. Like it was split into two different sessions, one for pitchers, one for hitters. So I got there around like 8 o'clock for the pitchers. Got there, got to see Coach Kaplan, and then as more people started to come in, I saw Coach Fitchin and Coach Honeycutt, and then as we went on, we started to throw pens, and had a great time talking with Coach Honeycutt and them. And after that, we got on, went to the hitting sessions, and then had a great time doing that. And then after all that, got to see some future teammates as we all toured around the athletic facilities.
All right, man. That's good stuff right there. All the way around, man. I love it. Absolutely. What a successful camp. And I kind of reflect back. I think I tell you what, you were really working over the summer, big time, in pitching. I know you wanted to pick up some of your velocity. I know you were working on a couple of your secondaries as well. But as that, I think you had the opportunity to go to a couple other camps as well. I know that you were in front of a couple other colleges. And I just love that you kind of kept working through that process. I don't think you jumped at the first thing that kind of came across. I think you were absolutely looking for the right fit for you. And I think you found it in Mars Hill, man. I am just so excited for you. No question. Hey, I also really want to think about some of the things that we talked about the very first time you were on. And one big piece was the importance of really balancing your academics with baseball. I know, I kind of think back to the way your daily routine would work out. And that was, it was a big deal to really balance those two and just have a good work-life balance, so to speak. So how important was that balance when you were really looking for a school that you were going to commit to?
The balance, keeping the high academics, staying on top of it really helped with it. I caught a lot of eyes with my GPA, and it was just a big help on my journey when I was getting recruited.
Heck yeah, man. What is your GPA?
I have a 3.9 unweighted, 4.8 weighted.
I love it. I can see why that got a lot of attention because that helps out with the money. There's no question about it. Absolutely. So let me ask you something. Did Mars Hill University, their approach to student athletes, does it really align with your values in that respect?
Yes, sir. They really do. They like to help keep players on top of their grades, and that will help me a lot.
I love it. So it was a big deal to them as well, man. That is fantastic stuff. Hey, everybody that's joining us tonight, thank you so much for being here. We absolutely appreciate it. If you got in late, don't worry about it. We record this space, and one of the reasons we record it is so that we can retweet it out later. Hey, we're talking with Tripp Bollibon, He's a 24. He's committed. He's out of the state of South Carolina, and he is going to Mars Hill University. I think he's really looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. Can't wait.
Hey, I want to talk about, like one of the first things that in our first interview, one of the things that we were really talking about was just kind of expectations of college coaches, and now you're committed, and what I'm interested in is, have your perceptions, did they change at all during your process of what a coach is really expecting?
I mean, not really. Like when I got to Mars Hill, I got to know Coach Kaplan, Coach Honeycutt, and Coach Fitchin. They were like everything I looked for in a coach. They were high energy. They just really cared about everything, and I just loved it. I loved every second being there.
Have you been back at all?
Yes, sir. I recently took another visit kind of up there for my academics.
Nice. So you got to meet a counselor or an advisor. You kind of walk through that whole process, how everything's going to work.
Yes, sir.
Man, that's big time stuff. Hey, I can't help but think I've heard you a couple of times talking about Coach Honeycutt, where you kind of cut it off and you almost called him Coach Honey. Is that his nickname? Does it just go by Coach Honey?
His Coach Honeycutt, but I don't know how with the true name for Coach Honeycutt yet, so I always try and catch myself.
That's good stuff right there, man. I can appreciate that. Hey, let's talk again. You know, obviously, when we first got together and first met, I asked you about your goals. You know, like really, what were some of your long-term goals? And I know, hey, you were like, you definitely wanted to attend college. There was no question about that. So, you know, just thinking about the bigger picture, your next 4 years, or if you're redshirted, your next 5 years, however it works out, kind
Hmm.
of tell us how you're really envisioning Mars Hill factoring in to your long-term objective of just continuing your baseball career as long as you can.
Yeah, well, Mars Hill, the coaches there, I feel like can really help me because I got to talk to Coach Kaplan about training with pitchers, and I got to talk to Coach Honeycutt about training with hitters, and it just seemed like a lot of like hitting the points where I can make a lot of improvement, and I feel like it could really help me make some improvements.
Hey, that's interesting. All right, so they've already kind of given you maybe a couple things to start checking off that they would like to see you continue to improve in. You're already at whatever level you're at, you know, where they're welcoming you into their program, but they're already saying, "Hey, this is some things that we just want you to continue to work on."
Hmm.
Okay, well, like what?
With Coach Kaplan, like right now, where I'm trying to work a lot on with like mobility. So like after like heavy lifts and after like my pens and games, focus on like a lot of stretching afterwards too as like a form of recovery and to gain some mobility before I get onto the campus.
Okay, I like that a lot. So, where do you think you see yourself fitting in? I know you've kind of worked on both sides with pitching, hitting. Do you think you're probably more aligned with the pitching staff, or do you think you're going to end up maybe being a two-way?
I don't really know. It's whatever the coaches want. I'm do whatever they want me to do to win.
I tell you, that was a great answer. That's absolutely the way to answer it. And let me ask you something. You know, as the coaches were saying a couple things to work on for your senior year, hey, talk about your high school year coming up. What kind of year do you think you guys are going to have? Like, what's the expectation?
I think I hope I'm thinking that we have a good year lined up for our high school. I think we can make some noise this year.
That's cool. How did y'all end up doing last year? I can't remember.
Last year we made it to the district championship.
I would have to say the expectations must be fairly high, man. Because I mean, that was a great year right there. You're in South
Yeah.
Carolina, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's a fantastic year. What kind of veterans, I'll say, are y'all returning? I mean, is it like a senior heavy team, or is it well mixed? Or you guys going to be kind of young this year?
We got quite a lot of few seniors returning this year. I think we got around like 10 to 11 seniors returning.
Wow. Yeah, I'm going to say expectations are going to be high. That's exciting, man. It's going to be a fun year.
Can't wait for it.
I don't blame you. Hey, again, everyone that's joined, thank you so much for being here. I mentioned earlier that we record this space. We record it so that we can retweet it, but we also record it because we turn it into a podcast. And that podcast is the NowD1 Speaks show. And it's really on every platform that's out there, you know, Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube, the independent labels. I mean, it is everywhere. And it's really gained a lot of popularity. Our core audience is really uncommitted high school prospects and college coaches. What we have found out here over the last 60 plus episodes, a lot of coaches like to dial in and listen as are subscribed to the podcast, I should say. It gives them an opportunity at their own leisure to listen to whoever they'd like to listen to. One of the things that I always kind of put in the title is the prospect, where they're from, the position they play, height, weight, that kind of thing. It just gives coach a real quick opportunity to kind of scroll through looking for particular players. And while there's no video, you certainly can't look at the skill set, but what you can find out is the makeup. And it gives these coaches just an opportunity to find out what kind of guy potentially could we start recruiting or to offer. And the things that we talk about on this show are what kind of classes are you taking? What's your GPA? What's your workout activity? You know, what kind of teammate are you? How do you treat your coaches? Where are you trying to go long term? What's your family involvement? And it just really starts painting this picture of this is somebody who's a stand-up person, and they're going to be able to take care of their business once they get to college. And I got to tell you, Tripp absolutely fit that mold. And what's so incredible, again, just being the first person that was ever on, man, I know neither one of us knew what in the world we were doing. And I've got to say, Tripp, for anybody that was listening, one of the funniest things that happened, we were getting ready to record this show, and this show is live. We were going to do it at 9:00, and I think it was about 8:45 or so. You started texting me and saying, "Hey, I'm not sure if I can do the show. My parents don't know who you are, and I don't know if they really want me to come on." And I'm like, "Man, you just got to dial in. We're going to figure it out as we start talking." And sometimes the Lord gives protection where he needs to give protection. And he presented a little bit of trust, I think, for your family. And, man, you dialed in, and things went really, really well. And here we are again, 67 episodes later, you're back. And, a lot of people have said, I don't know who NowD1 is, but I'm going to trust it anyway, and I'm going to jump on. So, Tripp, I absolutely appreciate your confidence in kind of getting this whole thing started. And, man, I've done almost all the talking tonight, but I got to tell you, I feel so really, really proud of you, and just excited and so happy to kind of see a lot of the hard work that I know that you have put in culminate with just a fantastic opportunity. I mean, this is something that you kind of set a goal for yourself that you wanted to be able to achieve, and, man, you achieved it. And that just doesn't happen to everybody. That's far and few between, and I'm just really, really happy and excited for you, man. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, if I have to thank anyone, I should be thanking you for letting me come on.
That's funny, man. I wish I earned that, but I have not. I'm glad that you came on. You did this work yourself, and you had the support of your family. You've had support of your coaches, your trainers. I mean, you've had a lot of support, and that's what it takes to make it at the next level, man. Hey, let me ask you something again. Just thinking about kind of this whole thing, going through this process, really knowing what it's like to obviously be uncommitted and know the stress of, is it really going to happen for me? If it does start happening for me, how do I handle it? How do I handle my showcases? How do I handle camps? How do I just handle the day to day? I know that struggle, not only certainly the physical side to perform, but really the mental side. And if there was some words of encouragement or just advice that you would have for anybody that's going to be listening to this show later that is uncommitted and kind of in your shoes a year ago, what would you say to them?
I would just say, really, just trust the process, because God has a plan for everything. Because I never really participated in like the big like perfect game PBR showcases. Like a lot of the stuff like was just me contacting coaches and stuff and just being like, hey, I think I'd be a good fit, and then finding who I liked, and Mars Hill was the one that I was like, this is it. So I would really just say, just trust the process, and God will put in front of you what he wants for you.
Man, that's big time advice. Let's expand upon that just for a few more minutes while we're together. I love the fact that you really took your recruitment on yourself, and you reached out to the coaches. So I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. Maybe you can kind of fill us in on that detail. You were researching the schools. You were figuring out what the majors are. Do they align with what it is that you're interested in studying? What potentially campus life could be, and then kind of really looking at the baseball program and the coaches and so forth. And then you sent emails just to say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I see that you offer. This is how I think I could benefit you. And here's my introduction.
That's exactly what I did.
Man, I got to tell you, that's a great process, first and foremost. I mean, that's just an awesome process. And I think that's advice that anyone can do, literally. But I got to tell you, that's time consuming. And that took a lot of effort on your part to do that type of research and to personally contact coaches as well. And I'm sure that you probably suffered through quite a bit of rejection, in the sense that I'm sure a lot of times coaches just simply didn't reach back out to you. Probably not because they weren't interested, but they may just not have the staff or the wherewithal or the ability to absolutely reach back out to everyone, because it's difficult to send out maybe 5 emails a day or something like that and not get a response. How do you kind of keep yourself motivated and going? Was it literally trusting in God?
Yeah, I would say the big thing was just praying to God, just keeping him involved in everything, because I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for him. So I always tried my best to make sure that he stayed number one. And then the other one really was just not to limit myself. Like don't just be like, okay, these 5 schools, and then if they don't contact me, then I'm done. I try not to limit myself on the schools I talk to.
That's such good advice, man. I think the way you handled your business was so mature. I mean, I really respect the way you did it, the way you handled your business in the classroom, the way you handled your business on the field, and then the way you handled your business just reaching out to coaches. I mean, it was just first class, man. You did it the right way all the way around, Tripp. Man, I've got to tell you, I really am excited for you. I mean, I can't wait to kind of find out what's going to be happening next year as you roll in, get with all your new teammates, kick things off, and just have a great freshman year. It's just so exciting, man. I'm really happy for you, Tripp.
Thank you.
Hey, I think we're going to end it here for tonight. I will tell you that tomorrow night we do have an Uncommitted on. It's a 25. It's Mason Howard. He is really a big-time prospect. I think that he's got a lot to offer. He's got a fantastic story. And I wouldn't be surprised here if he ends up in the same situation as Tripp and has an opportunity to come back later and say, look, I want to tell you where I committed and how I did it. So, Tripp, thank you very much, man. The very first guest will always remember you, brother. So thank you so much for being on tonight. And thank you, everyone who joined.
Sir, thank you.
Hey, let me ask you something. Are you ready to dominate at the plate this season? Blast Baseball is the #1 hitting improvement solution, trusted by more major league, college, and travel ball teams than any other. The Blast sensor attaches to the knob of any bat, providing real-time feedback with every swing. Metrics are automatically sent to a smartphone app, generating insights that allow you to analyze and improve your hitting like never before. Go to blastmotion.com and enter code NowD1 and you will save $25 at checkout. Unlock your potential with Blast.